Hi, this video is a little different. It's a live I just did on TikTok, so it's more spontaneous and a bit more unfiltered than my usual content. But we talked about some really interesting dynamics that I wanted to share with you too. Just see it as a podcast with a video. And I've also added some chapters to it, so you can jump straight to the parts that interest you the most. So let's dive in. Hello. Today I would like to talk about something that many people ask me. And this is, can wild horse knowledge even be applied to how we interact with our own horses? Because of course, the situation in the wild is totally different. There are many more horses. It's a complete different social structure. Does it even make sense to learn about wild horses? And this is a very good question, and this is why I would like to talk about it today. So before we go into the specifics, I would like to talk about what a herd actually is, first in the wild, and then about what a herd means for our domesticated horses or domestic horses, and if there are actually herd behavior, if this is happening. So first in the wild, so there is a herd association. This is how it is called. And this is multiple herds form this herd association. So a herd is led by a herd stallion and is between, it could be just two horses, but it can also be up to 30, 40, even 60 horses in rare cases that form a herd. And a herd is always led by the herd stallion. And in this case, the herd stallion is, when it's a bigger or larger herd, the herd stallion is often supported by a secondary stallion, which is often called lieutenant. And these herds, I just try. Maybe you just turn around your phone because I wanted to film it like this so that I can upload it to YouTube. So again, so back to the herd situation. So we have herds, and as I said, they can be very small, up to like just two horses, a mare and a stallion, or it could be many more horses. And these herds are not by themselves in the wild. In the wild, multiple herds form a herd association. So this means you have a herd, let's say a herd association has maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 herds. And usually there's also a bachelor herd that belongs to a herd association. And so these herd associations they are moving together, not really close to each other, but they always know where every other herd is. And also, and I think I mentioned it like several times in my videos and in my blogs and so on. So there is, within a herd, there is no ranking among the herd, like the herd members, but there is a ranking among the stallions, the herd stallions of the different herds within the herd association. So when we talk about a herd, or what we want to hopefully achieve with our horse, is we want to be part of their herd. And then once we achieve this, we will have to prove to our horse, which can, as I said, like be a small herd, just us and our horse. And then we need to prove to our horse that we have all the abilities that a normal herd stallion has. And this is how it is happening in the wild. So the way of a herd stallion is the following. So the stallion gets born, and in the first 6 months, everything is fine, like just as it is with fillies as well. And then after 6 months, his father plays a bigger and bigger role. And the young stallion learns a lot from his father, how to lead a herd and how to behave. So, and then at some point, often when they are like 3 to 4 years old, they leave their birth herd, or the herd stallion excludes them. Some young stallions continue to live in their birth herd, but this is often, it depends on their character. So some characters, like the fire type, for example, they are not interested in leading herds, so they often stay in their birth herds. But the metal type characters or the wood type characters, if you don't know anything about the character types, I have a blog on our website, link in my bio in the link tree. So these types, they often leave their birth herd, and then they start to establish their own herd. So in the steps is, so they leave their herd, let's say there's 3 or 4, but this is not when they start a herd of their own. So they join the bachelor herds, and then within the bachelor herds, they figure it out who's able to lead a herd, and this can go back and forth. So they learn quite a bit during this time. And then at some point, they're ready. So there's sometimes mares start actually herd. So they join the young stallion, and they even guide and educate him to the place of being able to establish his herd and to attract more herd members. So the young stallion is slowly growing into his leadership role, often supported by mares, older, experienced mares who join him. So, and what's happening then is the herd stallion behaves in certain ways, and this either attracts or doesn't attract other members of the herd association, and they will join him in his herd. And some stallions, they prove themselves to be really great leaders, and they attract more members, up to, as I said, like 20, 30, 40 members. And some stallions, they are just good. Like they just want to have like a mare, and they're happy with this. So they don't want to have more. And even if somebody asks to join the herd, he will not invite them. There's like a specific way on how herd stallions invite them. So the question is still, how can we apply this? So as you probably see, this is a completely different structure than we have with our own horses. So do they have herds like in the wild? So the answer is yes and no. So even our horses, they form herds. And not only horses who live outside 24/7 with several other horses, even horses who live in stalls will form herds. How? Very easy. Usually it's the neighbor or the neighboring other horses opposite. They consider themselves a herd. You might have noticed that if you take your horse out of a stall, that the horses who are beside your horse would start to be a little bit upset that you take your horse out. And this is because they consider themselves as a herd. It's of course, it doesn't have all the components of a natural herd, but still they consider themselves a herd. So, and now you take your horse out. And so there are 2 options. Your horse could be the horse that is leading this herd, or your horse could be a herd member and the leading horse is one of the other horses, and you take your horse away. So, and now it's also interesting, how do we know which horse is leading this particular herd? It could be, as I said, like in a stall, but it could be that they're like for hours or like during the day outside with some horses, and then, or they are with horses overnight. Thank you for the hearts. And so this could mean both. They could be outside, they can be inside, it doesn't matter. Horses are so social, they will absolutely look for others to join or to become a herd with. It's almost like if we were in a prison and we would all by ourselves, we would also try to get some contact with others who are in prison beside us. I mean, it's a little bit of a strange comparison, but this is the idea. So nobody wants to be by themselves, and horses, they are hardwired for connection, so they will form herds among each other. So so now we have this situation, but I just explained on how long it takes for an actual herd stallion to become this, let's say, so confident, so knowledgeable, so provide so much safety and show so much confidence, so that he attracts other horses. So he's not like, this is a common misconception, they don't steal horses. Horses want want to join them. So, for example, a mare, she will ask, "Can I join your herd? I think your herd looks really nice. Can I join?" And then the herd stallion looks like, "Yeah, maybe yes, maybe no." And in most of the cases, he will invite her in, and then she will join. So it's not that they steal or force horses to be in their herd. The horses are attracted to a certain stallion based on how he behaves and how much safety he can provide. And it's not about his ranking. Like, they don't all want to be in the herd that is the highest ranking, led by the highest ranking herd stallion. So it depends on who they feel drawn the most to. Almost like for us, you come into a room and you feel like, oh yeah, this person I initially feel like a connection to, and it might not be like the biggest and loudest person. It might be like for me, I sometimes am drawn the most to the one who sits quietly in the corner all by themselves. Okay, so this is how it is in the wild. So now, for us with our horse, of course, they cannot choose us, so we just buy them. So, so this is, so they have to see. So we have to show them that we are attractive enough so that we can provide everything that a herd stallion would do. So, and with our horses, and this is, so there's always one horse that takes on the tasks of the herd stallion in the wild. But this does not have the same quality of protection and leadership that a wild stallion can display or displays. Why? Because this horse, it can be a mare, a very experienced mare, but it could also be, let's say, a very late gelded gelding, and they take on leadership roles based on their character and their abilities. So this is something that would not happen in the wild. So in the wild, a mare would never lead a herd. So they make very important decisions, but these are situational decisions. Lead mare, lead stallion. So this is how all this discussion and misunderstandings come around, because in some herds at home, we have like a very strong lead mare or that is leading the herd. And then we have in some other herds, there's like this gelding, this strong-willed gelding who's making the decisions. And so some say, oh no, it's actually in the wild, it's lead mares. And some say, no, it's always the lead stallion. So I can tell you now, there is no way in the wild that a mare would lead a herd. Why? Because they are busy with doing all the other stuff. So they have children, like they have babies or foals every year, and they're just not interested in leading the herd. So because it's a very tough job. And so it's so the herd stallion provides safety and he makes the overall decisions. That doesn't mean he always walks in front. He can walk in the back, but he will still, by bending and positioning his body, will still make the decision. Let's say he's bending in canter, like he's going this way, and then this means the herd goes this way, or he's bending like this means the herd goes this way. So he will still make the important decisions in terms of direction and speed. But mares who walk in the front often, they make situational decisions based on the particular situation. Let's say there's like a little pond or something, and they decide, oh, well, let's go left or let's go right around it, depending on what she prefers. And what she prefers is basically what's better for her foal. So if she thinks like, oh, if you go right, it's easier for my foal, they will go right. And then the stallion, the herd stallion, is absolutely fine with it. He just says like, let's go north. And the mare in the front says, yeah, okay, we just do it a little bit like this. So back to our horses. So this structure, the social structure, and the leadership that a wild stallion can provide is almost impossible to achieve for a horse that was always in captivity. Why? Because first, they often don't have the right gender for this. Sorry, but it's like just with horses, it's different. So it's always the stallions who lead the herd, and also they need to have the right character, and so they mares and also geldings are not stallions. So even geldings are missing some important testosterone depending on when they were gelded, like especially early gelded geldings who never go past basically their puberty. They stay very playful and it's very interesting and fun to interact with them. But it's still not, they're not behaving like wild stallions would. So they don't grow up. They don't grow up into this role, and so they usually don't display all the same behaviors. But a late gelded gelding who went through puberty, let's say he was gelded with 3 or 4, this is very likely that he will take on a leadership role. But still, he doesn't have the experience. He didn't have a stallion as a father who told him how to lead. And there are many things he just doesn't know. He never learned because they learn certain things in the wild. So they bring certain traits. They have certain character traits, but they don't have the experience. So they do their best, basically, but they can never 100% replace the herd stallion. So, and also, so this is just what's happening. And the second big difference is that for us, the herds that they lead, the domestic horses, they didn't pick the herds. And also the horses within the herd didn't pick them. So they didn't have the chance. Let's say your horse is together with 5 other horses and it's out for a couple hours a day. And during night, they come in and they all stand together, 5 horses. And yes, it's somewhat of a herd, and they're displaying like a lot of herd-like behavior and interactions. Yet, compared to the wild, first the real leader, like this herd stallion who can do all these and knows all this and can do all these things, the horse that is leading this herd just never learned it. And second, the other horses never asked or never wanted in the first place to follow this horse. It's from these 5, it might be the best leader type, but still these 4 others, if they were in the wild and had to choose between 4 or 5 or 6 different herds, they would have probably decided differently. And now they'd say, "Oh, I don't want to follow this experienced mare. She's a bit weird. Why is she all by herself? Or why is this playful young horse trying to lead a herd? No, I follow this older experienced stallion because he can keep me safer." So this means our horses always, compared to wild horses, have like a lower level of the feeling of safety, being safe, because they don't have all these or the horses that are leading the herds in domestic settings. They can never provide the same sense of safety. How do you know which horse is the one who's leading your herd at home? This horse that is leading will provide safety. So let's say there is something scary, and this horse will go in between the thing that is scary and the rest of the horses. And second, how you can recognize the leading horse is this is the horse that will go first when somebody who's unfamiliar to this herd, like a person they don't know or another horse they don't know, when they approach, this is the horse that looks up first and will approach. So, but this can be tricky because fire horses per se are extremely curious. So, and if they don't know the herd rules because they never learned it because they were not well socialized, they might go first. And then you think, oh, this horse is the first, so this is the leading horse. Especially fire horses are really, really intense, really energetic. And then you think, oh, this horse is the one leading the herd. But no, it's not. It's just curious and just doesn't know the herd rules because it is not well socialized. So, but these are subtle signs. Usually it's a metal type characters. These are very confident horses. These horses sometimes also fight back when you try to dominate them. So these are the very confident horses, and it's sometimes hard to spot. If you want me to take a look, you can always send me an email. or contact me and send me like a little video of your horse behaving within a herd, and I can tell you which horse it is based on its character and based on its behavior, which one is leading the herd. It's not always obvious, and it's not the horse that sends all the horses away, because this is not what a herd stallion would do. Yes, they ask for space. If necessary, every horse can ask for space within a herd. But it's not the bossy horse that is sending all the horses away or something. If this is happening, then this horse probably made some really bad experiences. Maybe it doesn't have enough food, so not enough hay or something. So there are many things that are playing a role in that, but it's never the horse that is the bossiest horse. Okay, so now we are still talking about the situation. Can we apply the knowledge that we learn from wild horses to our own horses? And yes, we can. We even must. Why? Because as I just explained, the horses, our domestic horses, they never have 100% stable, or not never, but very rarely, depend, like if there are like a lot of horses or you magically found like a perfect fit for all of these horses, then yes, they will feel 100% safe. But in most of the cases, because horses are changing within a herd, and the horse that is leading never really learned it. So there's always like this idea. Maybe you experience it yourself when you grow up, and you never felt really safe. It's really hard to trust others and to at some point feel safe, even if everything is fine. Even if everybody would say, "I don't know why you're still so nervous, why you're depressed, or why you're so anxious. Everything is fine." That doesn't help, because you already, like, you grew up and it's your default. It's your default to feel unsafe, or to feel not seen, not heard, or that, you know, people are trying to take advantage of you or pushing you away or whatever. So, and it's the same for horses. So now back to the situation. So in most cases, I would say very rarely horses feel 100% safe. Some horses feel 95% safe, and some just 60, and some not at all, because they are not invited into a herd within their stall because they don't fit, and the horse that is leading this herd is trying to exclude them. You will see this, that one horse is always standing a little bit further away than everyone else and is trying to follow them, but is not really invited. So these horses feel really, really unsafe. But in all of these cases, it's on us to take over the leadership, and not in the way that we are taught, not in the natural horsemanship way, because, spoiler, natural horsemanship is not natural. It's actually, interestingly, it takes many things out of the wild and applies it to our horses, but not in the right way, because what they're observing is often behavior happening between herds. But what we are striving for, hopefully, is that we have a relationship to our horse that is like within a herd. So what we need to do is we need to tell our horse we want to become part of its herd, and then we need to show it, like we need to attract, not attract, but first to say, let's be a herd. Let's be at least a herd of two. And then we need to show our horse that we have all the abilities that a wild stallion has. And we are in the lucky position compared to the horses that live with us. We can actually study wild horses. We can see how they live. And how do I know about it? I don't only observe them, but I am learning from somebody who lives 6 months a year among them. So he actually is part of the herd, and day and night, like for weeks and weeks. So, and I see all his videos, and I talk, like, this is how I solved all my own problems. I will, in a later live, I will talk about that too. So how this knowledge changed completely the relationship that I have with my horse. I have a fire horse, and that was really difficult with her, so she wouldn't trust me and so on. And just learning about this, like, it blew my mind. And so I understood, okay, it will take a while, but I will get there. I will show her that I can behave like a wild stallion and that you can feel safe with me. And so this is what I did. And aside from that, of course, I also observe horses myself. I'm rescuing wild horses, and I observe horses who were formerly wild and are now living in a sanctuary and how they behave. This is also extremely interesting. When they come from the wild, when they live there, there's a specific stallion. His name is Dakota. And he lived there 5 years. He was a wild stallion. He was captured with his own herd. And there's so much to learn from this. There's so much to learn on how he behaves and how he behaves differently like other horses who never had the chance to live in the wild and who never had the chance to establish themselves and learn everything that a leader really needs to have. And it's not being bossy. It's not being dominant. It is attracting. It's just like this. Sometimes you see these people who you feel like, oh, I feel safe with this person. They seem to know everything and they're inviting, they're friendly, but confident. And this is the same in the wild. So no horse, no wild stallion can force another horse to stay within the herd. They can't. If a horse doesn't feel safe anymore in a herd in the wild, they will leave. They will look for a different. And sometimes when stallions get older, horses and not as strong anymore, horses will leave his herd. Like this is a natural thing. So let's say he's 5 and he has 5 horses, then he's 10, he has 20 horses, he's 15, he has 40 horses. And now he's getting to 20, he's back to 10 horses again, and then he's 21, 22, and so on. And so the herd will go back to its initial state, maybe like 5 horses, because horses feel like, he's getting older. Maybe I go to this other stallion. I feel safer. So this is what it is. So basically, we need to become, for our horse to 100% feel safe, we need to display all the qualities that a wild stallion has. And then you can take your horse out at any time. You lead it or ride it anywhere you want. And it will follow you because it chooses to, because it wants to be with you, because it says, there with her or him, I feel so safe. And I never felt so safe, no matter if it were other horses or whatever. So, and this is what we are striving for, to learn how wild horses actually behave, and then to apply these behaviors and also to develop as a person into this person that shows and displays all these qualities that a wild stallion has. And so this was my life for today. And so if you would like to learn more about wild horses, I would like to invite you to download my guide. And I also have, if you're even more interested, I have a series, intro series. It's videos of altogether, I think, half an hour. And it describes it in much more detail, how the structure of wild horses is and the misunderstandings that are happening when horses come to us and live with us, and the solution and how we develop into this herd stallion, basically, so that our horse is choosing to follow us. So go in my profile and click on the link, and there you can download the guide. So this is the first step. Then you can see if this is something for you. And if you think, like, oh, no, this sounds really interesting, then you can go or maybe you can do it right away because you're so convinced from what I said today, and you can watch the intro series. And then, maybe we see each other in my Being Heard community. And this community is like a monthly membership. It's not that expensive. In US dollars, it's $33 a month. In Canadian dollars, it's 47. And so there we learn everything about wild horses and everything how our horses show that something is off, that they're not really happy. And then also how we can develop into this person. And we specifically, because we all are different characters, we all have a different history. And so we all need different things, and also our horses all need different things depending on their character. So, and we lay it down in this membership program so that you can understand it yourself and apply it yourself, and not just with your horse, but you could do it with every other horse that you meet, so that you know what's happening, who's who, and who can do what, and what do I need to do so that everyone feels safe and trusts me. So yeah, this is it. So I encourage you to download my guide. As I said, it's in my bio. And if you're watching this on YouTube later, then it will all be in the pinned comment below, all the information to my blog and to my website, where you can download the guide and watch the intro series. So there's everything that, that you would hopefully want to know about wild horses. I can't even tell you how much it changed my life, and not only the relationship with my horses, but my life overall, because I was able now finally to see myself to make a TikTok live. Like 2 years ago, or even a year ago, this was something, oh God, I would never want anybody to see me, or on YouTube or so. No, but now I'm not only leading my own horses, but I can now show myself. I can go on, if you know Brene Brown. It's like the scariest thing to bring your ideas into this world. But I'm so convinced that, and I experienced it not only with myself, but with all my clients and everyone who ever learned about wild horses, um, that this is something that will not only change the relationship with your horse, but also the relationship you have with other people. It may be in your job, in your family, but most importantly, it will change the relationship you have with yourself. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. So yeah, hopefully see you soon, and download my guide, and hopefully see you at some point in the Being Heard community.